We all have that moment where we finish a series, that being an anime, a manga, or even a manhwa for some of you, and we just don't know what to start next. We spend hours looking through websites and even watching top 10 videos on YouTube, just trying to find that one thing that piques our interests. But to our avail, we find nothing. This being the first kind of video on my channel, I sort of wanted to find an interesting series for both me and any of you guys watching. I spent hours looking through these websites and the top 10 videos like I said, on God knows how many manga, just trying to find a series that would hook me in. I kept looking and looking, but I found nothing. Well, that was until I went on Discord. I don't know how many of you guys have Discord, but here I was scrolling through a manga chat, and there was a panel that would almost hook me in instantly. In life, we are always asked, what do you want to do next? As someone who is young, this question always lingers within my mind, and people always asking me and my family, yo, what do you want to do next? What do you want to do after college? It always happens to me, and I'm never truly comfortable with one thing. BoysAbyss. Published in Weekly Young Jump, we enter a manga taking place in the countryside of Japan. We enter the life of our MC, Reiji Kurose. Reiji just called into the counseling office, is asked by his teacher what he wants to do after high school. Told even by his teacher his grades are good enough to leave this town, he gives the answer, I can't leave this city. We're then told more about Reiji's situation. His brother being a shut-in, his grandma suffering from dementia. On top of all of this, single mother barely scraping by with the bills. Now for the first few pages, this manga already seems pretty wild. But the main thing to pay attention to isn't the words that Reiji says, it's his face. While saying things like he can't leave the city, you can sort of see the pain within his face, in his eyes, of being held up in a place that he does not want to be in. It really makes you question Reiji's mindset with all what's going on in his life. As we progress more towards the story, we get to see Reiji start to question if he should really be in the city. Going back home after school, we really get to see what his situation is like. From the very moment Reiji steps in his house, we're met with his mum telling him, hey Reiji, Granny's diaper leaked again. Can you help clean it? Yeah, sorry, I can't really keep composed on that. I don't know how many of you guys will take to that, but in my opinion, that sounds like hell already. Almost straight away, Ray instantly acts on it and sort of cleans it instantly, like it's a everyday thing for him. If that wasn't bad already, we're met with some noises coming from the other room, from none other than the shut-in brother. Yeah, screaming for some food that he has not had in 2 days. Ray obviously heads out to go get the food his brother wanted. But before leaving, is met with some words from his mother, a thank you, and saying, I'll die if you weren't here. As I go through the pages, I can sort of start to pick up more about Ray's life, piecing together what really goes on and how much pressure he sort of feels. As I want you guys to experience this, I'm gonna spoil as little as possible. Anyway, tracking back to it, we're met with some information dropped earlier, what I did not mention. Ray hears of this legend, a lover's abyss legend. It was a story from a woman from the mountains who once came down to the village. It was said she was so beautiful it would make any man that laid eyes upon her fall in love instantly. Eventually she actually fell in love with one of these men, but things took a bad turn, and the villagers got jealous and even tried to meddle with their relationship. Not being able to progress or even leave the town, they did something I did not even expect. One stormy night, they went to this bridge and jumped. But both of them jumped, taking their lives within that night. The villagers would take to this calling, and they would dub it as the Lover's Abyss Legend. And that's really the end of a legend. From my perspective, this manga went from 0 to 100 real quick. With the themes of tragedy and love being presented, it really makes you think where the story will end up. The only thing here at the time is that there is no love in sight for Ray, and only tragedy. Back to Ray in a setting that almost fits the legend I just told you about. We see him placed on a bridge, looking out at the sea, thinking about that very legend, except expressing that he wouldn't want to die that way, and goes to express that falling asleep would be a much better way to go out if he really did want to die. Seeing these type of things he's expressing within his mind really reassures us that he's sort of okay inside, you know, that he expresses these thoughts about death, but doesn't actually want to die himself. About to go into the store, he sees one of the employees smoking outside. The employee being a woman who refused to sell Ray cigarettes earlier within the chapter. She notices Ray and points out the cigarette box, prompting him to take one, but Ray, being in high school, refuses. Letting out a puff, the woman says, if you can't even puff, there must be plenty of other things you can't do. These words almost lighting a fire within Ray. He takes a step and doesn't even hesitate to take one out of the box. Finding out this woman's secret, the light is lit, and the meaning of this woman will change the boy's life forever. Just ending this one chapter with, is just the beginning of our deaths. That being just one chapter, there was a lot I had to skip over just because, you know, I want you guys to sort of experience this fresh, and me not being able to spoil stuff for you was really part of the joy of this series. Now that I've spoken a bit more about BoysAbyss, I would say it sounds pretty interesting, and most people I've explained it to would probably agree with me. The only problem is that nobody talks about it. When deciding to make this video, I did what any other content creator would do: hit YouTube and see who else has done this. Sure, a few people made little videos in this style, but none of the type I would do. It's more of a first impressions type. I then knew I had to make a video on this, with that, and I saw Masterman sort of tweet about it, so I didn't really want him to take my idea in a sense. Going back to the manga, there's a lot more than just Ray to look at. There's a number of characters connected to Ray in the story, such as the woman he met outside a convenience store, his best friend, and even his mother. In similar situations to Ray, the thoughts of them staying in this town float around in their head, with them starting to question if they should be there or not. It was when these things started to happen in the story, I couldn't just stop reading. I actually read it in one night, it's a fun fact. Well, whenever the story looks like it starts to slow down, we're just thrown back into a big loop of depression, and not just expanded upon Ray's thoughts, but the characters have stated before. On top of all of the story, we have the amazing art, which just goes so well with what's being told. The artist of the manga just has such a way of blending black and white to express the characters' emotions through their eyes and faces, and even the scenes that they're in, so well that it makes you feel that you are the one in despair. Now, as someone not really in this situation, it really opens my eyes, because personally, I get to choose what path I want to go down in the future. And seeing Ray, it sort of makes me question how somebody like that feels. And I do truly feel bad for Ray that he's almost being forced to stay in this town, you know, to look after his family in a way. The manga really does a great job in this, and it will really stick with me when I have to make big choices in the future. Another upsetting thing about this manga is just how underrated it is. I see nobody talking about it, and there's probably a lot more manga like this I want to find in the future and even make a video about. I hope some of you take the chance and sort of read BoysAbyss. The messages it presents are just too good to let up, and it really makes you feel like you are the one in despair while reading it. So I'll ask any of you still watching to go up and read BoysAbyss. This manga is still ongoing, and it really makes you, you know, question what some of the characters' motives are later in the story. And I have no idea what's happening, but I'm just going on with the ride. Anyways, if you guys are still here within this video, I want to thank you for, you know, joining me on this, and maybe you'll see me in the next one. I want to make videos like this quite often, like on manga, manhwa, and even anime I've yet to finish. I want to take a peep at series like Tower of God, what I'm reading right now on my channel, Vagabond, and the rest of the Inoue Big Three, and even Berserk, what I've surprisingly yet to read. I've been saving it for a little bit. Again, I'm going to thank you guys for watching. Give your boy a like and sub if you enjoyed the video. We have a Discord now, so I'd love to communicate with you guys there. It should be in the description. And I hope you guys will join me next time. Sensei out.